We're here sitting with Ann Williams today. Welcome to Mountain View College.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, what I'd like to do today is talk about your long history with Dallas Black Dance Theater, which you are the artistic director. Could you just give us some background information on how Dallas Black began and where is it going in the future?
Well, that would be a lot of history.
That would be a lot of history, and you just tell us whatever you'd like to tell us.
Okay. I started the company in '76. At the time that I started it, I was a professor at Bishop College. I had received my master's from Texas Women's University in dance and went to Bishop College to organize a dance program. So as the university began to decline, I had a grant from the Ford Foundation. And it was really to bring in arts and culture to the southern sector of Dallas, of the Dallas community. So at that time, I had that wonderful opportunity to bring in Dance Theater of Harlem, co-sponsored with Dallas Ballet, and we brought in the Ailey Company. And then the grant ran out, and I had also started an after-school program of little kids. And so I had about 200 little kids, and the parents said, well, we've got to have them continue to take class somewhere. So I started my own dance school. And from these little kids, as they grew up to about 300 kids, had lots of teachers, not lots, but about 6 teachers. And so one day, the teachers came to me and said, Miss Ann, why don't you start a dance company? Well, at that time, and I know I would say the same thing now, for what? Mm-hmm. And so that's how the company got started, you know, and I generally tell people that I think my teachers were jealous of the little kids when they had their recitals at the end of the year, each May, and they wanted to continue to dance too. Many of the teachers were graduates of SMU's dance department. They were working then at the Arts Magnet School, and so it was a wonderful combination. But as the company grew into those first 6 dancers, we danced for community organizations, we danced for parks and recreation. It was really dancing for fun, and had no idea that we would remain as a company. And the story of Dallas Black Dance Theater, I'd say, is always in 3 stages. When we first began, we were dancing as a community group. And we had parents, friends making our costumes. You know, we danced for the church and all of that. Then the second phase was when we organized, formed a board of directors, got our 501c, and got our first grant from the city of Dallas. And the dancers then danced and received a stipend. And then, of course, the third phase was when we went into that professional mode, and that was our 10th year. And from then, it's been history.
Oh, wonderful. Well, can you tell me the style which the company is based on? And is that something that you continue today with?
Yes, it is. I'm very much influenced by Alvin Ailey, and he was a great mentor of mine. And so our style is a harden. We do the harden technique. We're a modern dance company, very contemporary, and very much patterned after the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. One of the reasons, because most of my dancers now, as we audition, they come from the Alvin Ailey second company and come directly into my company. So it is the hardened technique. A lot of time as we tour, people can say, oh, this is the small Alvin Ailey company. You know, we love that. But very contemporary. And lyrical, not like Martha Graham, you know, we're very lyrical, very contemporary. In fact, when you're sitting in the audience, I would say anybody that's in the audience would be able to find a couple of pieces on our program that they can identify with.
And let's talk about tonight's program.
Okay.
One of the pieces that's going to be performed is called Verses. Can you give us some background information on Verses?
Yes, 4 years ago, we were commissioned by the National Endowment for the Arts of Humanities to choreograph a piece centered around the Nasher Sculpture Garden, of which the late Ray Nasher is the founder. And we brought in Nathan Trice, came in, and he had a chance to interview Mr. Nasher, to really go down to the garden, and came up with a wonderful piece, and we're going to do that this evening, and I think you will love it. And as we have traveled, and even in Dallas when we perform at the Majestic and have performed this piece, it really, really kind of tells the story of the National Sculpture Center. Because of all the beautiful pieces of artwork there, and of course the life of Mr. Nasher. And it's real great, and I think you will love it. It's very different, a very slow style. That is what Nathan Trice is all about. He is a choreographer from New York, and right now he also teaches and has a dance company at Purchase University there.
Does he have a certain style of dance that he...
Yes, he has. His is more of a, I would say, not exactly Paul Taylor, but he is a product of Paul Taylor, because he has performed with his company also.
Another piece that's being performed tonight is called Mourner's Bench. Can you give us some information on Mourner's Bench?
Mourner's Bench is a male solo choreographed by the late Tally Beatty, and it is really from the old rep, I would say, from the days of Tally Beatty, Del McHale, and Alvin Ailey. And Tally, when he talked about setting this piece on the company and talking to the dancer, he set it on a couple of my male dancers, and but only one, got a chance to perform it as we do our shows. And he talked about being in the maybe in the one-room church out in the rural, the little white church, where everybody came in and they prayed by getting down on the bench, on the bench, and that was really what it was. So I think he took this as an inspiration from his childhood, something that he remembered, and so the entire dance is done on a bench, and it is done with a beautiful chorus in the back, and when we have performed it at the Majestic, we've had live accompaniment with it, but you will enjoy it because we use it as a spiritual and as a historical piece, and it really goes well during Black History Month as we travel.
I look forward to seeing that tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
The last piece that you're going to do tonight is called Girl Power. Now that sounds exciting.
And it is, and I know you will have to see it, all of you guys will have to see it, because it truly is girl power. It is a dance where the girls really outpower the guys, and the fun thing about it is that in one section they walk across the stage with the guys on their back, But it's a very contemporary, choreographed by Christopher Huggins, who is really an up-and-coming young choreographer now. This will be Christopher's third piece that he has set on the company. But it flows, and it's in 4 sections, and the girls really outpower the guys in there. And one of the other things, I guess, that you love about it is at the end, the girls skimp down to skippies, Yes. Really show the power, It's a fun piece, it really, and it is a closer. It's an evening closer.
I'm sure our audiences here will enjoy that
very
will.
Much. The youth, they really enjoy, and the college kids, they go wild for it.
And can I get your perspective on the state of modern dance today and how it's progressed from the last 40 to 50 years?
Well, I would say, coming from the Charles Weidman, I took classes under him, and Doris Humphrey, and of course then our other Ruth St. Denis in that era, even from Isadora Duncan. We call them our old historians, for the first forms of modern dance. And then from there we had Martha Graham, who is a great modern dancer and whose company is still here, but I think has taken a little twirl of a different aspect, but still has some of the beautiful Martha Graham pieces, the historical pieces that we love to see. And I would say that each era has had its own style. So I really see a lot of the companies that are on the scene now, very few maybe are products of those first years of modern dancers. And I would think maybe that the Martha Graham Company might be one of the only ones that we still see some of that early form. But that's not to say that what we're seeing now or what we saw through the next stages was not good, because from there we came into the companies like the Avenala American Dance Company, which is a modern dance company. And then, of course, from Paul Taylor, you know, and he's always a good audience. We love Paul Taylor's style. And then as they produced dancers, then those dancers went out and formed their own. And I think at times you will see some of the styles of their mentors, but then of course you see that contemporary and that impressionist of that particular choreographer or that company owner coming out of that too. And maybe today we're more into the modern dance, but from the very contemporary style. It's definitely not a Martha Graham. Our young choreographers that are coming on now, they're using themes that really relate to some of their experiences, which is the things that we're seeing every day. And I think for our youth, and I think for the audience that we're trying to fill the houses with, that's good. That's very good. Modern dance is so different from ballet, because from ballet, even now, we can still go and see the same Cinderella that we saw 20 years ago. We can see the same Swan Lake that we saw 20 years ago. But now, if we would go and see, I would say, a revelation, it would not be that revelation that we saw 20 years ago. It would be a revelation, but it's a new one. And so I would say the involvement of modern dance, it's good. And I think it's going to be more powerful than what we're seeing now, because the universities, and just like you, even from the community colleges, you're producing wonderful dancers, and you're producing strong dancers, you know. And those dancers are coming out with very contemporary ideas, and they're going to take it on. And I don't think we have anything to worry about, because it's always going to be a form of modern dance.
Anne, we have many young college students that are taking humanities courses for the first time and dance courses for the first time. How would you describe what is dance to the individual who has never seen dance before?
I think I would always describe dance as a form of expression. And I generally, when we speak to audiences that are unfamiliar with dance, we tell them, or I would say to them, what if you couldn't speak? If you didn't have words to tell me how you felt, then you could tell me with movement. And so for me, dance is expression. It is a means of communication with body language. And for those people that are taking humanities, I think they can really relate to that, because the experiences from those humanities classes really can relate in with those forms of expression. And of course, it can be love, hate, war, whatever. But with one person, and then with two, there's even better. You can make the explanation or the sentence even better. You can explain it to the audience, and just think if you had 4 or 5 people and you all are trying to communicate what a dialogue is about, or maybe what a sadness is about. And then just think if you had a corps of dancers, 16 or 17 dancers, and you're all trying to express joy, what that would be like on stage, you know, at one time. So I think just a form of expression.